In the third part of our series on classification, I'd like to talk with you a little bit about our tiered system of evaluation. This system is the foundation of our activity. What it allows us to do is provide developmentally appropriate feedback for every group that takes the floor at a WGI event. Rather than evaluating all of the groups together in a one-size-fits-none kind of scenario, we've broken our activity into three different parts: basic skills, intermediate skills, and advanced skills. And we have each group compete and participate within that appropriate paradigm for their development, for where they are in the developmental process. This gives us two main advantages. It allows our adjudicators to hit the ground running, already knowing what expectations to apply to a group once they take the floor. And it also allows groups to compete with their peers. You get intermediate ensembles competing with other intermediate ensembles to see who can max those skills out to the greatest degree in that particular class. The foundation of our tiered system is the concept of skill sets, and I'd like to talk with you a little bit about those. One of the first questions a lot of people have when they learn about the tiered evaluation system is, where do I fit? Which class should I be competing in? And the answer to that question is always based on the skill sets that are present in your show and the skills possessed by the performers of your ensemble. In the A class, what we're looking for is the word basic. In open class, what we're looking for is the word intermediate. And in world class, what we're looking for is the word advanced. We use these words, basic, intermediate, and advanced, to describe the skills and the abilities possessed by the performers and required by the composition and design of the show. We also use these words to describe the kinds of expectations that are going to be placed on the ensembles, both by the adjudicators and by the audience that's enjoying the performance. And we also use these words to describe the kind of feedback that these ensembles will be receiving from the adjudicators. This is oftentimes a very difficult thing to try to wrap your head around at the very beginning. And I have a metaphor that I use with a lot of people to try to illustrate the point and illustrate how we go about creating these different designations. I'd like to share that metaphor with you right now. So whenever I get a chance to talk to people about this, there's always a metaphor that I like to use, and I hope this will really clearly illustrate for you the difference between A, open, and world-class skills and abilities. In this metaphor, what we're going to do is we're going to set up a classroom that has a variety of art students in there. And all of these art students are going to be given an assignment. The assignment is to draw a cat. That's it. There's no more expectations than that. Just draw a cat. And every single one of these students is going to be provided with the same tools. They're all going to get one piece of paper and a pencil, and those are the only tools they can use. So everybody's constrained by having the same assignment and the same tools at their use. But you're going to see that this is going to create three wildly different projects in a second. And this is similar to our activity because all of our groups have the same assignment. Basically, perform an indoor percussion program, entertain the audience through music and visual coordination between that. And we also have the same restrictions. We have the same instruments at our disposal. Everybody can use battery, front ensemble, accessory instruments. You can use props, floors, lighting. You can all use the exact same tools, but we're bound by the same requirements. And even though we're bound by the same requirements and we all have the same mission, we're going to get three different levels of ability. All right, so the very first student brings back his cat, and I'd like to show you right now A-class cat. Here is A-class cat. It's a good cat. It looks like a cat. It fulfills the assignment. That's exactly what they were supposed to do. But it's a pretty basic cat. You would say that this student is using basic art skills and basic art abilities to create a basic cat. It's good. It's successful. It's clear. I like the cat. I think it's a good piece of art. But it is basic in all ways, shapes, and forms. Our next cat is going to be open class cat. Here is intermediate cat. And you can see right off the bat the intermediate cat is several degrees above that of A-class cat and basic cat. The intermediate art student is now using some shading techniques and employing certain advanced strategies that the basic cat just, that artist is not prepared to experiment with those things quite yet. And you can also see a new characteristic creep into this cat's face. You can start to see some expression with this cat. So it starts to transcend to just being, a pencil on paper and really starts to evoke a different sense of emotion from the audience member. And that's exactly what we would expect to see with a lot of our open class ensembles, starting to experiment with some advanced techniques, starting to play around, some more successful than others, and really starting to transcend the idea of music and visual components happening in the arena or on the gym floor. All right, now, our next cat is going to be World Class Cat, and here is World Class Cat. And this is drawn by an advanced art student that has all sorts of skills and abilities at their disposal. I want to remind you here with World Class Cat that it's still just a piece of paper and a pencil. That's the only tools that are being allowed to use. But this advanced person has been able to take these tools that everybody else has had access to and really do some advanced things with it. This cat is the height of realism. It's incredibly lifelike. The detail in there is just exquisite and amazing. And you can, I mean, this isn't just a little hint of emotion. You can literally read things into this cat's face. Once again, just pencil marks on paper, but totally transcending the idea of that. So this metaphor for me is really similar to our activity because we all have the same mission, we all have the same tools at our disposal, but we do different things with them. And some of our performers and some of our designers are prepared to use the tools a little bit differently than some of the other ones are. You can immediately see when you look at this, because it's a visual medium, that these three art students should not be graded in the same way. They should not have the same set of expectations applied to them. What they're going to need their art teacher, who's basically going to be their evaluator and their adjudicator here, they're going to need that person to give them different kinds of feedback. A-class cat needs different kind of feedback to progress to the next level than world-class cat is going to need. So we want the adjudicators and the evaluators, both for these cats and also for activity, to be talking about different things within each one of these skill sets, and we want different sets of expectation applied to each one of these. So this is a very simplistic example. Obviously, our activity is far more difficult than taking a look at three pictures right here on this slide. But one of the things you can do, I think, when you look at this is you can start to figure out, okay, in this activity, in this great giant activity, where do I fit the best? Do I, does my show, do my performers, do our ability, does that look most like A-class cat, open class cat, or world class cat? Now, there's one other thing I want to point out here is obviously this is just three little snapshots, and in our activity we have literally thousands upon thousands of groups that take the floor and participate in these types of activities every single year. There's a wide degree of difference between A-class cat and open class cat, and not everybody fits into these nice little designations quite so easily. It's not as if you were an art student, if you would go to sleep one night and you'd be drawing A-class cat on Monday, and then you'd wake up on Tuesday and all of a sudden you're ready to draw open class cat. That's not how it works. Every single art student is going to be slowly transitioning from those basic skills to the intermediate skills, eventually to the advanced skills, and you will see all sorts of cats in between all of this. One of the things we have to do as an activity is we have to try to figure out which ones, which pictures are going to be grouped by the other pictures, which ones are most similar, and which ones need different kinds of expectations and feedback. And in our next video segment, we'll talk about how difficult it is to do that and why it's challenging and why it's sometimes mystifying how that whole process works. What I hope to illustrate for you right now, though, is that just even with this simple little metaphor right here, that you can see the need for three different classifications and how we can really take, basically anything, even including the simple assignment of draw a cat, and break it up into these different ability levels and see very clearly that we need different kinds of information going to all of these developing art students so they can continue to grow and maximize their own individual potential. All right, that's it for today. Thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video clip, and we'll see you again very soon.